The things I wish I knew when I first started with Djay Pro. I'm DJ Spiegel, and I'm going to tell you all about it. I've been using Djay Pro now for about 7 or 8 years, and the first thing that I wish I knew when I first started is to be patient. That some things in DJing you can't learn in one day, you can't learn in an hour, and it requires muscle memory, and you have to keep practicing day after day, week after week, and month after month. Like when it comes to scratching, I would go onto YouTube and watch tutorials how to do the chirp scratch, how to do this scratch, how to do that scratch, and I'd be sitting there with my controller and I'd be trying to do these scratches, and it was impossible. It just seemed impossible to move the jog wheel, move the crossfader at the same time, but a little bit before and a little bit after. And I just would try. I would try for a little bit, and then I would give up, and then I would try again and give up. And I just wish that I knew that it's supposed to be hard and that I just kept practicing consistently, because I would have got it down so much easier. Because beat matching, manual beat matching, and scratching, it takes a while to learn. So that's one thing I would let anyone know, is to keep going and don't give up just because you suck at it on the first day or the first week. The next thing that I wish I knew when I first started DJing is that it's more important to have playlists for the people that you're playing for than to know all of the fancy tricks and scratching and beat matching. Because I used to, once I mastered beat matching, I would go to family parties and stuff like that, and I would want to DJ in front of people, and I would be DJing like house music, techno music, and I would have the beats perfectly matched on the phrases and doing perfect mixes, but no one cared. They weren't listening to the music that they wanted to hear at that time. So even though I knew all the skills, they didn't care. And it took me a while to realize that it's better to play music that everyone's going to enjoy and everyone's going to have a good time than to play music that you're good at mixing and songs that are meant for DJing. So that's another thing that I would let anyone know that's just starting, is it's more important to know your music than to know all the tricks and DJing. And on the same topic is the people that are great DJs that you see that are getting paid and performing in front of people, they're not ninjas, they're not superheroes, they're not any smarter than anyone else. They just took the time to organize playlists and to figure out how this music gets mixed together, and they practiced before and were prepared, and then when they got to the gig, they were able to seem like they did it effortlessly, but you didn't see what happened behind the scenes when they were practicing all day and all night. And another thing that ties into being patient is it takes a while to build your DJ libraries. So you could go and make a playlist for a specific gig, and you could do it in a couple hours. But in order to discover enough music and to have your go-to playlist already there for you, it takes every day discovering new music every single day and listening to playlists, listening to Spotify, saving music and organizing it. And it could take weeks, and it could even take months to build these playlists. It's the compound effect. So one day you discover 5 songs, another day you discover 10 songs, and then at the end of a month, at the end of 3 months, you'll have these playlists that are hours and hours long, all organized and ready to go. And then also to use cue points. So instead of guessing, instead of playing songs that you don't know how they are, every song that you play should have cue points, at least where to start and where to end. And another thing that I wish I knew about DJing before I started is, don't get it. I got into it because I wanted to impress girls. I thought, oh, girls like DJs, I'm going to be a DJ and they'll be so impressed. Well, it doesn't work that way. That's just like getting a fancy car to impress girls. Like, you're more likely to impress other guys. So you have to decide that why you're doing what you're doing. So Are you becoming a DJ because you love music and you love the art of DJing and all that? Or is it for another reason? And if it's for another reason, then maybe you should consider doing something else. Maybe DJing isn't for you. But if you really love it in your heart, then definitely pursue it. Now, another thing that I wish I knew before I started using Djay Pro is not everyone is going to be supportive. Especially other DJs, people that are professional DJs that've been doing it for a while, that started with two turntables and a mixer. They might not be supportive of you DJing with your iPad and streaming service. They may tell, I was told all the time, that's not real DJing. You're not a real DJ. Can't DJ with the iPad. Can't DJ with streaming service. That stuff's never going to take it off. And if I would have listened to them, then I wouldn't be where I am today, and I wouldn't have this YouTube channel, and I would have missed out on all of the fun that I had while DJing. So don't listen to the haters. You don't have to tell everybody that you're a DJ. The truth is nobody really cares. What the people care is that they're at an event, they want to dance, and that you're playing music that they want to hear. Now, another thing that I wish I knew before I started DJing is it's not all fun and games. It's a lot of work. So when you're booked to do a gig, it's not just showing up there, having drinks and partying. It takes hours and hours of behind the scenes work of getting all the playlists together, getting all the songs together, knowing how you're going to mix in, knowing how you're going to mix out. And then also setting up the equipment, if you're doing a mobile gig, setting up the DJ booth, setting up the speakers, setting up the screen, all of this stuff. It's a lot of work, and a lot of times you're going to be by yourself and you're in charge of doing this. And if you love doing it, that's great, but keep in mind that it's not all fun and games and that it's going to require actual work like it was an actual job. So just keep that in mind, and it's not all about partying. You're there to do a job, and you should take it seriously, show up on time, and be professional. Now, the last thing that I'm going to talk about that is really important before you start DJing is to don't worry about the equipment, because people think, oh, I can't afford all this stuff to DJ, blah, blah, blah. But now with Djay Pro, all you need is an iPad. And maybe you could get a cheap controller like this, or you have a controller that you found for really cheap. Nobody cares what controller that you're using. That's like if you hired someone to build a shed in your backyard, and then nobody's going to go outside and be like, oh, you're using a Ryobi drill instead of a DeWalt. What the hell? Nobody cares what equipment you use. They just care that you went there and you got the job done. So don't go out and spend money on all the new controllers and all this stuff, because you could do a perfectly good DJ set with just your iPad, or maybe even just a small, cheaper controller. So I hope this helped you guys, whether you've been using Djay Pro for a while or if you're thinking about getting into it. And I hope you guys learned something, and I just want you guys to not give up and keep going and understand that it's a long process. It's not just an event where you became a DJ. It's hours and hours, and it's getting up early and staying up late and working hard to accomplish something. So if you like learning about DJing, if you like DJ motivation and learning how to DJ with the iPad and all the stuff that Djay Pro offers, subscribe to my channel and give this video a like, because I post DJ videos every single day.